How's it going, everyone? James Lynch here for odds.com, taking a look at some prop bets for Saturday's UFC Vegas7 card, which goes down at the Apex in Las Vegas. And we're going to start in the main event. Pedro Munhoz taking on Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar making his bantamweight debut in this fight. This was rescheduled from earlier this year. Of course, Pedro Munhoz getting COVID-19, them having to move the fight. And it's now a 5-round fight instead of a 3-round co-main event fight, which is what they originally had earlier this year. But I like Pedro Munhoz in this fight. I think he gets it done. A little bit more tested at bantamweight, obviously. Edgar making his debut. Edgar used to fight at lightweight and featherweight after that, so interesting to see how he'll look in this fight. The one thing we know with Edgar is that he's been pretty durable throughout his entire career. Now, I know he's been finished in 2 of his last 3 fights, but you got to look at who was finishing him there. Brian Ortega, the Korean Zombie, 2 guys who have just some insane knockout power. I don't think Munhoz has that same type of power. I know Munhoz does have some knockout wins, most notably knocking out Cody Garbrandt last year, but Frankie Edgar I don't think is Cody Garbrandt. This is a 5-round fight. I think Edgar's going to be very durable, very fast in this matchup, and I don't see Pedro Munhoz finishing the fight. However, I am picking Pedro Munhoz in this matchup because I do think just with the fact he's been more battle tested at bantamweight, he's fought in the division longer, and he's got some good wins, and even his losses, that loss against Aljamain Sterling doesn't look so bad right now with the fact that Sterling just went out there and finished Corey Sandhagen in the first round in his last fight. So I think Munhoz will be the better fighter in this fight, but I don't see him finishing Frankie Edgar. But looking right now, you can get Pedro Munhoz by decision right now at plus 315, which I think is an absolute steal. Edgar, again, I know he's been finished 2 of his last 3 fights, but I don't think Munhoz is going to be able to finish him in this matchup. I see it going the distance, and I see Munhoz edging it out here. A little bit of a better price than the current odds right now, where Munhoz is anywhere from a 2-1 favorite to a 3-1 favorite, but I think Munhoz by decision, pretty good bet in this fight. We're going to go to the co-main event, a fight that was sort of announced at the last minute. We've got Ovince St. Preux moving back down to light heavyweight to take on Alonzo Menifield, and right now you can get Alonzo Menifield inside the distance at plus 120. I see some great value there. Look, OSP, he's getting up there in age. He's 37 years old. He's a guy that is just so hit or miss in his fights, and I know he has a clear edge and experience in this fight, but he's fighting a really good fighter in Alonzo Menifield, who comes to us from Fortis MMA, one of the top camps in the sport here. And if you look at Menifield, 9 of his 10 fights have gone inside the distance. He's not a guy that goes to the judges' scorecards very often. I know he did in his last fight, but I think he's looking to get back on the winning track here and make a statement, and I think he does that by finishing an OSP. Now, look, OSP, has to cut some weight for this fight, so he's more susceptible to the knockout. And I know he hasn't had a ton of knockout losses in his career. However, there's that Dominic Reyes fight where he was finished at the last minute. They counted it as a decision, but I think he could have argued that was a stoppage as well. And we've seen him finished before in the octagon. And I just think with the fact he's getting up there in age, he's fighting a younger guy who's faster, got better knockout power. I see Menifield getting it done by knockout. So rather than take him by knockout, you can get him inside the distance for a little bit cheaper. I think it's worth a stab here. So give me Menifield inside the distance at plus 120. And then finally, we're going to end on the biggest betting favorite on the card. Mariya Agapova is going to be taking on Shayna Dobson. Total mismatch. You look at the odds right now, it's like a boxing fight. Agapova on most books anywhere from minus 1,000, if not higher in this fight. Dobson, really surprised she's getting another fight here. 3 losses in a row. Got finished in 40 seconds in her last fight. I would take Agapova inside the distance. However, that's like minus 300. I think that's a little bit too steep. I'm going to go a little bit bolder here, and I'm going to actually take her by first round stoppage. You can get her right now. Agapova wins in round 1 right now at minus 130. I think that's worth a shot with the fact that Dobson just hasn't looked like a UFC caliber fighter over the last couple fights, and Agapova on the upswing, kind of has that Ioane and Jacek swagger, just an absolute killer, and we saw that in her last fight, getting the quick win over Hannah Cifers. So I feel pretty confident that Agapova is going to get it done early, and that's why I think the round 1 prop is good to take a look at. Now, Dobson did switch camps for this fight. She's at Elevation Fight Team. I think that's a good move, but I still think Agapova is going to be too much for her. I think she gets the first round finish. So I want to know what you guys think of these prop bets below. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Lynch on Sports. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment in the video here, and also make sure you subscribe to the Odds HQ YouTube channel. You can find my interviews there. You can find my weekly breakdowns, and we've got a lot of other really good content on this channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm James Lynch, and I'll see you next week.